Hello and good evening. Very warm welcome to you on the third day of 7 days Executive Development Program. My sincere gratitude to ICAI President C.A. Nihar Jammu Sir, ICAI Vice President C.A. Dr. Diversification, Acting Secretary CA Dr. Jaikumar Batra sir, and all Central Council members of ICAI. This program is an initiative of Committee for Members in Industry and Business under the leadership of Central Council members, Chairman CA Hansraj Chuk sir and Vice Chairman CA Durgesh Kabra sir. The initiative started on April 21st and since then we are now into the 7th batch where the Committee for Members in Industry and Business is committed to pass on the significant knowledge from the speakers all around the world for our young members to excel in their corporate journey. Let me remind all the members that on the same link in the recorded webcast area, all the sessions are available there, and anytime you wish to see, you can view, and also on ICAI tube channel. In the past almost 3 months now, we have tried to give all what our young members have asked, and if there are anything which you wish to cover, you can always mention that in the chat box. Today we have 2 sessions and we are very happy to have Mr. Sujit Sukumaran once again with us, who came very long back and did one session. Sujit Sukumaran is a management professional with a background in management, consulting, HR and academia. With 14 years of experience with the companies in the banking, insurance, telecom and power service fields. He currently runs his own firm, Optimus Management Consultants in the UAE. He is also a 2-time TEDx speaker, award-winning debate coach and a university professor at the University of West London, where he teaches business law, strategic management, new venture development and project management. He was named last year as one of the 40 under 40 in the UAE's poll on entrepreneurs and is also a recipient of the Zayed Award for Community Initiatives and Rehabilitation and initiative of the Zayed the Inspirer movement. He is also a disability rights advocate and he serves as a trustee on several non-profit boards on matters of policy. Thank you, Sujit, for being with us today. We are very happy to have you, and the topic which you will be covering is of significant importance in the current times. And without further ado, I request all our young members, young participants, to please give a big virtual round of applause to Sujit. And Sujit, the floor is yours. Thank you.
Thank you, Pradeep, for having me once more, and my thanks to the Committee for Members in Industry and Business, C.A. Hansraj Chuk serving as the chairman, and C.A. Durgesh Kabra as the vice chairman once again for having me over. It was nice to be with you in the last iteration, and glad to present the same module once more this time. It only goes to show that these kind of topics are quite in vogue, and from the last time that I had done this session, I believe a lot of people had connected with me on LinkedIn as well with a lot of doubts and all that. So I've been having steady interaction with a lot of people from the community of chartered accountants. So just wanted to check, are you able to see my screen?
Yes, Sujit. It's
okay.
We are
great. So let us go ahead. So we are now into the second phase of the pandemic, as we call it. It's almost been a year and a half, and we are seeing new variants. We are seeing more infections, more spread, more kind of catastrophe coming in. Flights are blocked. People are unable to move. The whole world as we know it has changed beyond recognition. People have started working from home. The future was anyway uncertain. It's now more uncertain than ever. And we don't really know what we are studying today or what we are working as today, how relevant it will be, given the fact that automation is coming and we have a pandemic in front of us, and we really don't know how the workplace is going to shape up in the future and whether we will have a semblance of competitiveness and sustenance as the years go by. So this session today is titled Careers of the Future, What Beyond the Pandemic, as a frank look into what has changed pre-pandemic and now that we are into the pandemic, and probably what might remain post-pandemic. And irrespective of whether there's a biological pandemic or not, when there are any paradigm shifts in the economy or in any of the places where we have any kind of issues, what do we do to ensure that these kind of things do not unseat us from our vocations and from our professional practice per se? So just to go into the first step, just a second, I'm having some network interference. Give me a moment, please. Okay. Yeah. So when we say beyond the pandemic or beyond a situation of crisis, we need to ensure that we are relevant across all times and we prevail. There are some professions which have been around since time immemorial, and I don't think they're going anywhere soon. Examples are, for example, agriculture. Of course, automation has come, processing has come in agriculture, mass production has come, pesticides and chemicals have come. But the fact still remains that the farmer will still have work to do and a job to do, which is cultivating crops and feeding us, and that is the basic, one of the most vital jobs that is there in our economy, and India being primarily an agrarian economy as well, apart from the other new fields that have come up. These kind of jobs are like indispensable. So when you come to think of that, what can we all do as chartered accountants or fellow professionals to ensure that we stay relevant during and beyond the pandemic? Every year, so many chartered accountants are passing out of the institute and coming in with freshly minted CA degrees. Then they come into the industry and they probably will find out that most of what they've been told so far has changed. It's sort of like, you study in bachelor's for a couple of years, and then by the time you come out, try to apply what you've learned. A lot of that has moved on since then. But the beautiful fact is, and the reassuring fact is for most of y'all who have graduated probably a couple of years ago, today we are at a stage where online learning is very, very much in vogue. The kind of access you have to the different kind of syllabi and to the different kind of modules that you can undertake are next to none. In fact, you do not even need in certain cases to be physically attached to an institution or go to a school or a college or university. There are scores of courses on Coursera, Udemy. E-learning is very much here to stay. More evidence so is that, we are having this particular session today totally online. I do not know where each of you all are sitting. I am giving this session from Dubai. Prabdeep is currently based in India. So still we are connecting and sharing knowledge and information. And, closer to home, my 2-year-old daughter probably learns more from YouTube videos than from me, because half the day she's on her iPad and all that. So today, as long as you have an internet connection, you have data, you know how to use Google, and you know where to invest your time, the canvas of the internet is open for you, and it definitely can help you to achieve whatever you want in terms of personal and professional goals, certifications or otherwise. And more importantly, it can give you access to a network of a lot of distinguished people with a lot of experience that in pre-internet, pre-pandemic times, you would probably need to wait for a couple of months and months until appointments could be set, meetings could be given and all that. So do not think of it as a adversity per se, but think of it as an opportunity that has come up despite the adversity. And once you do that, I think you would have got the essence of this session. So let's go into the meat of the matter now. Let's go into the course content and the content for today's session. So first of all, when you think about looking at careers beyond the pandemic or being relevant in the professional workplace, first of the considerations that you need to have is the why, what, and how. I'd like you to take a moment and think about, whatever, like for example, is your rationale now of after you have completed a CA, or whether you're in the middle of your intermediate or final or whichever juncture you're at, was the rationale when you started studying and once that you have graduated, how has the world changed around you? How do you wish to implement the learnings that you have learned from taking the chartered accountancy course and actually becoming now a chartered accountant and a member of the industry? What's your why? Do you want to go into professional practice? Do you want to work for a player in the industry? Do you want to actually get into some other kind of consulting work? What is it that you want to do? Was this particular thing that you want to do always the same from year one, month one when you joined? Or has it changed? For most of you, it would have probably changed. For some of you who are the very, very lucky ones, this is like love at first sight. It has never changed throughout, like how many ever years I took to pass my CA. From the beginning till now, I wanted to be this particular thing in this particular industry. And you were lucky and fortunate enough to get a placement or get a job or get a vocation engagement in that same area itself. Some others have got it in something quite similar but not exactly, and some probably are doing something totally different from what they wanted to do because they didn't get what they wanted. So they said, okay, might as well do something. But as long as you know what's your why, like why do you want to do what you want to do and how much do you want to do it? Like some cases we still take up vocations and stuff that we don't really enjoy just because it puts food on our table and just because it gives us a vocation. But the beauty of the pandemic is that it has enabled us to do a lot of side hustles. It has enabled us to do a lot of work from home where we can multitask, manage our time without micromanagement by our boss or any significant other, and focus on different things. Like for example, Google as a company has an intrapreneurship model. Now what they do is they encourage employees to take couple of hours in a day, accumulated across in a week, to work on a project which they are passionate about. Many of these projects that the alumni or the workers at Google have worked on as side projects during their job at Google have then gone on to become major products. One of the examples is, I do not know whether some of you remember, was a social media engine called Orkut. It now does not have much significance, but Orkut was made by one of the Turkish employees who was working there in Google at that point in time as a side project that he took out of his hours during his lunch break and during his off time. Google had allowed him to do that. They allowed that as a form of creative expression. Same way, the essence of the pandemic has taught us that as long as you are diversified in your approach and do not put all your eggs pertaining to your career in one basket, whether the pandemic comes or not, you will still have so many things to do. Like I know friends in my network, fellow chartered accountants who have taken teaching as an option. They do courses on YouTube, on Coursera. Some of them do part-time accounting work on the side. Some of them teach at universities as well, some of my colleagues. So you are not exactly married to a 9-to-5 job or a particular institution, a place of work or something like that. The pandemic and the distance working or the flexibility of time factor has brought to our lives so many more options that if we are prudent enough to find out what really will help us and apply that proactively, then we can do amazing things with the time that we have. I come from a consulting background, and in the initial days, one of the most interesting concepts in consulting to me was the fact of a timesheet where you have to log in your hours per project that you've devoted to. I never understood the rationale behind that at that point of time when I was much younger. But now that COVID has struck, you're probably working from home, or, you have a light working schedule compared to going to an office or a place of work. And suddenly this timesheet magic comes into the fray, where you have around, say, if you say 8 hours for sleeping, around 3 hours for the rest of the work. So you have around 11, and then you have around, say, 10, 12 hours to go. And in that 12 hours, or maybe if you want some more leisure, in the remaining 10 hours, what do you choose to do? Even if you take, say, 9 to 5, it's like you still have a couple of hours left. That you can devote to cultivating something that you are good at. One of the equations I would like to tell you here, which I use often in my classes, especially in terms of personal excellence, is the PPE Framework. What is it? It's the PPE Framework. Now, because of this corona and the pandemic, PPE is very famous. It's not personal protective equipment. It's something called personal, professional, and excellence. So, when you are bifurcating or dividing your those spare hours, what you want to do towards pursuing your activity or your passion, which is out of or in course of your professional work or vocation, you need to consider these three pillars. Like, what is that one thing that I need to be personally good at? Like, suppose I have a fear of public speaking. So how do I improve that fear of public speaking? Sometimes, suppose I come from a non-English medium background. How do I get a good enough vocabulary so that I can start talking to people with whom English is their native language and probably have the same vocabulary diversity and the richness that they have when they communicate. On the other side, suppose personally, if everything is good, but I've been working like 15, 20 hours in a day, like only 3 to 4 hours sleep, like graveyard shift throughout. Work is going amazing, but my health is suffering. Probably, I have put on 10 kilos of weight, or I'm not as strong as I used to be. My physical stamina has gone down. Then, especially that's happened to many professionals during the pandemic. Then one of your personal goals in that case may be the need to be going to a gym or taking up some exercise or doing some yoga or something like that, which will keep you in fit condition and mentally having the acuity and the agility to get things done. So the first bracket, you need to classify it as personal. So you might want to take a piece of paper or a journal or something and write down. One of the first pillars that I need to think about is, what is my personal excellence goal? Like physically and mentally and socially. Physically, mentally and socially, what is it that I want to improve? And try doing this, because I often use a technique called journaling. Whenever I want to keep track of something, it's sort of like creating a to-do list, but with a very, very long horizon. I write down what are the top 5 things, top 10 things that I want to achieve in the next 3 to 4 years, and I then start collecting all kind of resources that I can do to do that. So personal is the first bracket in this area. Then the next one is professional. This is probably the one which is the most straightforward and the one which is very much encouraged throughout. Everybody knows a lot of things about it. Now, professional does not stop only with, getting your CA qualification and probably doing a lot of other professional qualifications also. Today, the paradigm has changed to such an extent that your progression in your career or the net worth that you have is determined by your network. So you need to brush up on your networking skills, make sure that you at least reach out to 5-10 people every day. And one of the things that I really admire among the Americans, some of my friends that Americans are in a way professional networkers. They're masters at this because every day they make it a point that they keep sending 5 or 10 emails to people just to keep in touch. Like imagine if you have friends who are at a particular company or something like that. Many of us, when we need a job or something, we will reach out to them. The problem is that we will reach out to them only when we need a job. The remaining days we don't bother to check, hi, how are you, what are you doing, and all these things. Out of sight is out of mind. So keep the relationships up so that when you need to call a card, you will be able to effortlessly reach out to that person, and that person will also feel the kind of love and affection to help you back or help you out. The third thing in the professional area is that every quarter try to pick up some new skill or brush up any of your existing skills. So try to pick up a new skill or brush up your existing skill. A lot of us, we will start slaving for the job that we work. And then suddenly we will see a lot of young people coming suddenly and hyper qualified, and they will start competing with us. And we will wonder, where did we miss the train or, miss the boat? The point is because the people who are striving to continuously improve themselves, they will not feel any problem in terms of going ahead. Those who sit and accrue and don't do anything much in terms of progression, but do the same thing over and over again, will probably get a degree of perfection, but they will not have sustainability beyond a point once the paradigm shifts. So these are the important things you need to think about when you come to the professional sphere. Then the excellence sphere. Is there one thing among all your skills and abilities which you are really, really good at? And not only you think you are good at, but other people are also saying, this is what this guy is very, very good at. If you need anything regarding this discipline, go and ask him. He is a perfectionist. He knows everything about that domain. He is the go-to guy. The moment you start hearing these kind of adjectives being used about you in conjunction with a particular discipline, that day is the day this is my mojo, this is my secret weapon, this is the thing that I have found, and this is the thing I need to be super in. If you are passionate about it, drop everything else and put your full energy behind that. Because there are very few masters of their game. Like everybody can be an amateur, very few can be a master. So if you're getting suggestion signals from your network, from your friends, family, even from the divine and destiny that this is one thing you are damn good at, please pursue it. See if there is a commercial angle to that and whether you can hold it in parallel with your professional engagements, and if the destiny so helps you with it, by all means go ahead. Like I know so many people who are part of one profession but who have pursued alternatively very lucrative practices. Like you must be knowing CA Rachna Ranade. She is a chartered accountant, also has a wonderful YouTube channel on the stock market and investing basics. That channel is now having millions of followers and probably earns crores in a year in terms of advertising revenue. But apart from this, she also has full-time work and engagements in her professional practice. So she does this only as a side hustle on the weekends, but it has now become more lucrative than her main stuff. Of course, the fact still remains that you need to be talented at that. It's not like, okay, she is doing YouTube, I'll also start a channel. Each of these initiatives takes effort, takes deliberate, concerted initiatives steps you need to take towards making those initiatives come to fruition. And it takes a lot of time devotion also. You don't become a celebrity overnight. But once you get to that level, what it eventually does is now, Rachna today is not dependent on her job. Her channel will take care of her if she continues the same momentum. So what I'm trying to say is, have your professional eggs or your talent eggs in different baskets. That will ensure that come what may, pandemic, position or company wise, if there is any issue, you still have something to fall back on. So it's always better to keep a plan B, C and D. Now, you must be thinking that I probably have told you so many things about talents, characteristics, behaviors, abilities, all these things. One of the easy ways to find out what kind of a personality you are. And of course, don't take this test alone at face value. You will need to still sit with somebody who knows how to interpret this test and then get, probably your analytics done. But one of the simple tests that I usually administer to my employees and probably give in schools also to find aptitude, and the beauty of this is a non-linguistic test. So it doesn't matter whether you are in English medium or Hindi medium or whatever it is, whether you know the language well or not. This is just a sequence of 4 figures, and those 4 figures are actually denoting something. So what we tell people here is choose each of the 4 figures in a particular serial order, like 1, 2, 3, 4. Whichever figure appeals to you first from the 4 figures, you choose that. Whatever is second, you put number 2 there. Whatever is your third figure in order of preference, choose that. And whatever is the 4th figure, you choose that. And then separate the first 2. Like it can be either circle, square, or circle, triangle, or circle, scribble, or square, triangle, whatever permutation combination you choose. And a combination of those figures have a personality element to tell about you, which you can probably use to understand more about yourself and find out that whether there are any particular options that I have in terms of latent talent, hidden talent, that I have not duly exercised. So you can take a couple of seconds to look at your figures. Once you have given 1, 2, 3, 4 number values in random order or any particular order which probably appeals to your mind to any of these figures, I will go to the next slide. So the method is very simple. Choose the first figure which strikes your mind. Choose the second figure which strikes your mind. Choose the third one and the fourth one. It doesn't matter if third and fourth nothing appeals to your mind. 1 and 2, favorite first one and the favorite second one. Choose that. And then once you have taken those options down on a piece of paper, then we can go to the next slide. And my request to you is, once you have chosen the figure, on the next slide when you see the answers, don't change your figures. That probably will be telling you more or less of what it feels right now as per your psychological status, your areas of interest might be at. So let us now go ahead to the answers of interpretation of the 4 figures and what they mean. So here it is. So a circle person who chose the circle first is technically somebody who needs love and affection, reassurance, constant encouragement. They are a team player and a family person. So these guys are in an office, the guys who are the great teachers, great mentors, great supporters, but they are not the guys who probably go ahead and execute things with a merciless or a ruthless way. They are very kind and very compassionate. Most of these guys are the middle management people who nurture, hone, and they will do very well when it comes to training people and all these kind of things, whoever's the circle, because their primary emotion is love, affection and support. Square are people who are mathematical, orderly, calculative. They love analytics. They think in numbers and grids. Now, as chartered accountants, all of us need to have one square at least in it. Suppose you didn't get any square in your choices, don't be despairing that, oh my God, I am a chartered accountant, but I didn't get a square. It just means that your primary lookout or the way you think is not core analytical. Now, there can be a lot of creative accountants also. There is nothing wrong with that. But those who usually take square as the first thing, these are the guys who will have a place for everything and a time for everything, super punctual, very orderly. If a pen is kept in a particular place, they will get irritated if it is moved from that place. Like they are super cleanliness freaks, super orderly, very, very methodical. So these kind of people. Triangle are the people who are like, figures of dominance. If you have chosen triangle as one of your figures, these are the guys who, when we play gully cricket and all, I will bring the bat, so I only must bat. I will bring the ball, so I only must keep on bowling all the overs. Or if you are playing any game, who will be the group leader? This fellow will jump up and say, sir, I want to be the leader, or ma'am, I want to be the leader. So these are the guys who have natural leadership tendencies. On the lob side, the drawback is that they can be aggressive and autocratic if other traits are present. Because of their intelligence, because of their speed to want to execute and get things done, sometimes they may steamroll over others. Now, if you have a triangle in your chosen list of figures, don't be sad and say, oh my God, does this mean that I'm an inconsiderate, autocratic, dictatorial kind of a person? Not really, but it often means that you will listen to everyone, but you will do only whatever you feel like. This is not bad, but in the long run, if you need to get into top management and probably lead a company and all that, until you reach the top position, a triangle alone may not be the best way to go, because you need to take along a lot of people along with you. If you are too autocratic in the beginning, most of the time the political environment of offices or organizations will ensure that you are not reached to the top, because they will see you as a threat to them. Maybe you are very good, you are exceptionally talented, you are great in execution, but there are organizations which don't like your guts and they feel threatened by your presence. Most of the time, my CA friends who I have seen this triangle pattern come in their figures or in their handwriting, they are people who work for a couple of years under some firm or within an industry, maximum like 10 to 12, 15 years. Then 100% they will start something on their own. Either they become entrepreneurs, or they become small and medium solopreneurs, or they will go out as a consultant or an advisor, because the fundamental thing is they dislike, reporting to an authority or being scared of anybody. Sir, can I get leave? And being at the mercy of somebody else. These all things they don't like. So if you have a triangle, Mabruk, congratulations. Very soon you might become a Jeff Bezos in another 15-20 years, or even earlier than that. So God has gifted you with that ability. Now scribble is another kind of genius kind of people who are creative. They don't like routine. They think out of the box. They favor art. They're quite emotional and eccentric. Now you will be thinking, oh my God, are there chartered accountants like this also? For the record, there are a lot of creative chartered accountants, like Shekhar Kapoor is a chartered accountant. Mani Ratnam is a chartered accountant. So a lot of people in the creative domain also. I'm not saying that you guys should go tomorrow and start shooting your own movie or something like that. But there are plenty of creative people who are also chartered accountants. There are even artists, for example, who are chartered accountants who are very, very well known in India. So, this is what the 4 figures mean about yourself. You can not only try it out for you, you can even try it out on your parents. And if you are in business with somebody else, or if you are planning to thinking about starting a new business with another partner, see how well your figures are common with each other. The rule of thumb is at least one figure should be common between both of you. Otherwise, it's very difficult. In this case, opposites don't attract, they repel. So at least ensure that one variable of commonality is available between 2 or 3 parties. In official circumstances, it can also help you when you are forming teams in the office to get jobs done. It's better to put all the kind of people inside one team who are gelling together with a similar kind of figures. That will help you ensure that you are getting the job done without upsetting anybody, in utmost cooperation and with a lot of achievement and possibility. So the PPE system that I have covered already. Just to reiterate, the personal is challenge areas where you are not strong. Professional is to hone the skills required in your profession. Excellence is to polish the skills that you are already good at. If you keep hacking away at this, sooner or later, you will reach to a point where you are going to be really, really good, or probably what we call the 3% rule, where you are among the top 3% of your profession or your vocation or your chosen stream of passion. That's where you should try to achieve. Even if the beauty of putting yourself through that rigor and through that discipline is that even if you don't reach there, you will get some kind of, resilience and toughness, which is far beyond the ordinary mediocre people who are in and around you. So, the next thing you want to importantly look at is not only what is your why, also answering the WIFM call, meaning ascertain what you are going to get out of the course when you get out of the course. Like CA, when you start, you might be having one aspiration to, I want to probably go for a job or get something. When you pass out, the world would have changed. Then your intention also might have changed. So why are you doing what you're doing? That must be backed up by what's in it for you. Try to use this opportunity to hone the skills required in your profession or side hustle. How many people do you meet? What kind of skills do they have? Can I learn something from that person? Like, if you ask me, I am a sucker for learning. Like, every month I set aside around 10% of what I make in terms of an earning to reinvest in some kind of courses or some kind of learning or something like that. Not because I don't know what I am doing, but I want to get better and better. And it's always better to put yourself through a learning student's process so that your brain keeps on getting refined and being updated. Read a lot, network a lot, watch a lot of content. And today we are living in the 3C age. Means 3 C's are there, the letter C. You can either be a creator, you can either be a consumer, or you can be a collector. So a creator is a person who probably creates content, like Rachna Ranade's YouTube channel. She creates a lot of content. You can be a consumer. You are not creating anything, but you are consuming. Okay, you are watching her videos and everything, learning the skills and applying it elsewhere. Or you can be a collector. Whatever is the good stuff, no, I will create a database of it and keep adding to my repertoire, and probably from the collection I will create my own observations and research and all that and bring out something new. So that is the third type of C. You need to, in the next 10 years, wherever you are, you need to fit into one of these brackets. Otherwise, it's very, very difficult to survive because the world is changing in a way that we have never imagined. So on the right side, if you look at it, you have something called the ICAI diagram, where you have basically 4 circles which talk about passion, mission, profession, and vocation, which is basically what you love and what you're good at and what you're paid for and what the world needs, and where they converge. This brings to a very interesting equation. So you can even try downloading this figure and plotting what you want to do and arrive at a right choice. So whatever it is, people and skills, these are the 2 important things that you need to get out of anything that you put into, because money can always be made, time cannot be got back. So be very, very judicious with the way you invest your time. Of course, as CA students who have passed out, you probably are masters of time management. But after we pass out, what happens? We get relaxed. Then we don't have the same kind of vigor, endeavor and stamina that we had before. So even now also be very aggressive with your time. Remember, the gift of your time is the best gift that you can give anybody. So don't waste it. Like, if you are not getting enriched by the conversation or by the company, be happy to say no. 75% of the success in the world is the ability to say no and knowing when to say no. Because otherwise there are too many things you will get sucked into and you will lose your focus. So this is a report by the World Economic Forum about the jobs landscape in 2022. The top 10 emerging ones, as you can see, are data analytics, AI, software analysts, big data specialists, sales and marketing, digital transformation, new technology, OD and IT specialists. So you will be probably thinking, oh my God, so anything like you see, data entry, accounting, bookkeeping and payroll, etc. are all on the declining area. Now, it doesn't mean that you guys don't have any future as chartered accountants. If you are willing to marry your accounting with data, like in terms of big data, and I believe you're going to have a session on Power BI and all in the days coming forward. If you are able to marry accounting as a profession with data analytics as a vocation, that is where the sweet spot is, because there are very few people in that space today. And going forward, this is a space, digital transformation, even fintech, which is going to see a lot of action. So as chartered accountants, you definitely have a place not only till 2022, but also for the next 10 years to come, provided you yourself are willing to adapt and change according to the requirements of the industry and the economy per se. Otherwise, if you still want to do old school bookkeeping, you can, until robots probably will come and take over your jobs or get automated. So don't stay in the same place. Inertia is not good for anybody. You need to be quite skilled, and you need to be constantly updating yourself, and that's the way to go forward. So one of the other tests, if you want to even do it in a more structured way, is do something called the gallup test, which is a battery of around 120 questions, which will measure your leadership and your soft skills and your qualitative and quantitative areas of excellence. That will help you to arrive at what you need to do in terms of your career or where you need to go ahead from here and all. So how to stand out in the pandemic? Main important thing, and I think this also you are having a session coming after this in terms of develop your personal brand. If I ask you to describe yourself in one line, like if I give you the space behind a business card and I tell you, listen, whatever you can do for me, please write it on the back of that business card. So the keywords in that one sentence, right? That should be your personal brand. Leverage digital outlets. Today there is Twitter, there is LinkedIn, there is a lot of digital platforms available where you can, you don't need to be waiting with a newspaper, media, publication or anything like that to get published. You write a good article, it will go viral, you get 10,000 likes, 50,000 shares. Slowly somebody will see it and ask you, can you come for a speaking engagement, or I'm looking exactly for somebody like you. Do you mind coming for an interview or something like that? So put it out into the atmosphere, put it out into the world. The public today will decide whether you are good enough or not. And if they don't, your first article doesn't become viral or your first initiative does not become super hit, think of it like an actor. In the course of many years of your career, there will be films which are very hit and which will make your life. Some of them will flop, but that doesn't mean you should give up acting and go away totally. So keep trying until you get the right recipe, and of course you will be successful. Cultivate a side hustle. Do something that you are good at on the side. It will always help you. Love your job, but don't love your industry or your employer, because they definitely don't love you beyond a point. You need to bat for yourself. Develop time to have multiple streams of earning and learning both, so that you will never be irrelevant in the scheme of things. And also, be ready for change, because that is the only constant. Now, in terms of resources, these are some of the books that I really like, which I would like to recommend if any of you want to have a look at, from where these concepts were gleaned. Talking to Strangers, like the book says, is one of the interesting books by Malcolm Gladwell. He talks about how to get comfort with talking to someone you've never heard or seen before. Grit by Angela Duckworth is another beautiful book on power of passion and perseverance. Like, whatever happens, I'm not going to give up. Most of you all who have passed CA already have a lot of grit, because for many of you it has been a yearly engagement, failing, passing. Declutter Your Mind is another interesting book which teaches you on how to cut out the clutter and focus on the essentials. Switch by Chip and Dan Heath is another interesting book. Atomic Habits. Out of all these books, this is one book which I really love. I have it with me in my library, and it's something which all of you, if you want to really get to the next level in terms of your behavior and perfection, you can apply many of the principles in this book by James Clear. Limitless by Jim Quick. It's about making your brain into a sponge and how you can learn anything very quickly. A lot of techniques are there to increase your memory, increase your neural networks, stuff like that. Simon Sinek's Find Your Why, very interesting book. Would definitely recommend that you look at it, because it talks about purpose and how to find it. Mastery and Laws of Human Nature by Robert Greene, same author. They talk about systems which you can put in place towards excellence. Smarter, Faster, Better, same as Limitless, but with a huge difference in terms of perspective. Dave Goggins' Can't Hurt Me is a beautiful book about a Navy personnel in the United States Navy. Dave Goggins, when he started, was a very fat guy, very ugly looking, written off fellow. Doctors told him he will die in a couple of years if he continues like this. Totally unhealthy. From that point, he literally transformed his physical condition to become a Navy SEAL and become one of the elite Navy corps of the United States Navy. And despite going through a lot of challenges in his personal life and all that, he still bounced back stronger. So this is a beautiful book about the power of strength and resilience. And the last book which I like is Extreme Ownership. Again, from one of my favorite organizations, the US Navy and SEALs, because they are very, very elite. Not many of them get selected, and many of them drop out also. It's sort of like CA, like getting in is very easy, getting out is very difficult. So US Navy SEALs and the CA Institute have some lot of similarities. When you read this book, you can also understand a lot of similarities between your CA journey, ups and downs, and what happens in these kind of training boot camps and all that. So these are some of the books that I can also recommend in terms of what is the best stuff you can do. And yeah, that's about it from my end. I can now hand over back to Pradeep if there are any questions. We have around 15 minutes to go, and I look forward to hearing from you. Yes, Pradeep.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much, Sujit, for your very important topic in these days where the insights shared by you will be of significant difference to our members. I do not have the questions which haven't been answered, and considering we still have a time left, I would ask you if there's any topic like LinkedIn engagement or any other very common topic of yours where you can share insights which can be of helpful to the members, which can be covered in, let's say, 8 to 10 minutes. Anything?
I think probably one of the most important things what members need to look at today is, like I said, the importance of a personal brand. First thing, a lot of them need to have up-to-date LinkedIn profiles, because that's where most of the hiring, and like if you're not having a LinkedIn profile and you're a professional today, you don't exist on the online world, and nobody takes you seriously without that. The second stage is to have a relevant LinkedIn profile. It's not like, okay, I just signed up, made something and left it. Like, it's like a garden. You need to take care that, you need to post regularly. You need to do something. It's not that, okay, I made it and then I will do nothing about it until I lose my job and then I start updating it again. So don't do it that way. And we understand everybody may not be like content creators, like, Pradeep, I know you do some 2-minute things on LinkedIn videos and all that. So everybody may not be having that kind of ability, but something, it can be anything. Ensure that your original authentic voice is coming out on your platform. Because you never know who is looking at it. In fact, a couple of weeks ago, I had posted the application acceptance letter of mine from XLRI with a small write-up, and I have only around, I believe, around 1,600 friends in my network on LinkedIn, but that post has got more than 21,000 views. Now, there is no way I have that kind of a network, and I am got reach outs by so many people telling me that, your story, despite cerebral palsy, despite your adversity, getting into an institute of national importance, pursuing a PhD and all has been amazing. You have inspired us in a unique way and all that. So a lot of this has materialized into speaking engagements for me. Some of them have materialized into partnership agreements with similar people. Some of it has led to business opportunity. So it's all about how one post may make a difference, or how your updates on LinkedIn, not only LinkedIn as a platform, there are several others, depending on what restrictions and regulations the institute has. Now, I don't think if you are a working chartered accountant in an organization, I don't think there is much restriction, but I believe there are some restrictions if you are a practicing member, that you cannot do some kind of advertisement and all that. But you're not advertising a product, you're basically sharing your experiences. So that I don't think there is a restriction on. And you never know, like, one of the people I've been following in the CA fraternity, apart from Rachna Ranade, has been an interesting lady called Uma Krishna, who at the age of 50 plus, she cracked the chartered accountancy exam. And by any margin, she's not the oldest person who's cracked CA. I know somebody in her 60s, 70s, also one lady from Tamil Nadu, one grandmother has also cracked CA and all that. But what's interesting about Uma Krishna is she's a very simple, humble, smiling lady who says that I'm an English literature person and I never had any introduction to accounting, and it was only after I had my children and they went to school and they got jobs and everything. I was at home, thinking what to do, and I thought I'm bored, so why not do CA? And she eventually cracked it. She also holds YouTube lives and LinkedIn Ask Me Anythings about reaching out to so many students in the CA community. And she's doing most of this as an awareness initiative, and she's got quite a lot of following, and I've been in personal contact with her, so she's been saying from when I launched my LinkedIn, like a lot of things have happened. I've been invited on TV channels, I've been offered jobs, I've got consulting engagements. So all these things came only after people knew about her. Same thing applies to any of our members, even if you are a fresh chartered accountant or a recent graduate, unless people know about you, how will they promote you or give you things or get you things which will make a difference in your life? Don't be shy about listing anything on a social media platform. As long as it is not something controversial or insulting anybody or breaking the law, if it is within your personal space, if it is something about your creative expression, you never know. There may be audience for that kind of thing also. Of course, when you start, things may not be perfect, like you may not have the best accent or the best English or written skills or anything. But I would always say that some content is always better than no content. Because at least you post and post and post. Over time, after like 7-8 months, you will yourself see from what I had posted in the beginning and now there's a huge improvement. And people also will start liking it and giving you feedback. Like which other place in the whole world, when you post, people are ready to give free feedback. You can think of all the social media platforms as a safe place where you can experiment before you go and play that in your organization. So today is the digital age. We keep talking about digital transformation, leveraging digital platforms. But that also takes effort, Pradeep. And that is what young people today need. Most of the time they are born with one smartphone in their hand. So if they don't take advantage of it, I don't know who will take advantage of it. And there are plenty of free resources online on YouTube and everywhere on how to create a fantastic LinkedIn profile and all that. And I think the institute also had organized something with one person from abroad some time ago on LinkedIn profile and branding and all that. So you can even refer to the old videos also. The only thing is, keep referring to things the institute does periodically and also the free resources available online. There is so much that you don't need to actually go pay money and get it done or learn from anybody in a paid course. If you have the time, if you have the will, resources are available. Only thing is what happens, what I have found with many of the CA students who are also my mentees, they are so, stuck in the hyper-focused level of clearing the exam. They don't think outside the box. But the whole world outside is about thinking outside the box. So start with that thought process in mind, and the CA course is a beautiful one. It gives you a beautiful kind of rigor which very few courses internationally are able to do. Once you've got that rigor, then the point is how can I use it at a global scale? Always think big and think global. You will eventually reach there. And as always, Pradeep is available for you, and I am also there in case you need to reach out to me. Pradeep has all my contacts, so feel free. If we can guide you in any way, I am happy to guide you also.
Yeah, thank you so much, Sujit, for your wonderful insights. As you have just taken up your role as a regional advisor of Toastmasters International, so I would like to ask you as we have still 6 minutes, any insights on communication which specifically you would like to share where our members can prepare themselves better to make a difference?
I think it's a lot about three things. I call it the 20-20-60 rule. So basically, you need 100 minutes in a day. Okay, so 60 minutes you should definitely spend on reading something, whatever it is. Like choose any subject which you want to get good at. So read a book or an article or a piece written by somebody authoritative in that field for 60 minutes. Then 20 minutes you spend collecting your thoughts about that in your own words on a piece of paper or inside a Word document. I personally prefer writing it with a pen or pencil because that is our handwriting will get better and your brain also works better. And the last 20 minutes, right, of the 100 minutes, try to explain the concepts that you understood from what you read to a person who is not at all related in that domain. Like for example, if you are taking up an IFRS standard and you are reading some article on the application of a particular standard, then you read that for 60 minutes, then your challenge is to cut it down to a page. Then last 20 minutes, explain the same thing to a person in that industry who may not be a finance person. And if he is able to understand, that means you have got the gist of it. So this is basically the 60-20-20 rule of communication. So if you attack this regularly and vigorously, over time, all the three faculty, reading, writing as well as speaking, should be properly polished. I do that on a frequent basis, especially when I want to understand something I have no idea about. I think Shanavas has joined us. Hi, Shanavas.
Hello. So is my voice okay?
Yeah.
Yes, Shanavas, your voice is fine. And,
No problem.
yeah,
Thank you very much, Prabhati
Yeah.
bhai.
Many thanks, Sujit, for your wonderful session and your insights on in small nuggets in LinkedIn and on LinkedIn and communication, and sincere gratitude from the committee for members in industry and business, and from our chairman, C. Hansrachuk, and vice chairman, C. Durgesh Kabra, for taking out time and being here with us again today. And we wish you very best in all your endeavors, and we look forward to continuously take your services to make a difference in the life of our members. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you once again.
Yeah. So now we move on to our second session of the day, which is the last session, and we have C.A. Shahnawaz Khan from Bahrain, who is most known mainly as Shaz. Shaz is the partner in Grant Thornton and leads the IFRS advisory, financial services and energy practice. He is a chartered accountant from our institute and also a member of ICAI and holds a bachelor degree in commerce from Delhi University. He has nearly 20 years of professional experience specializing in financial services, energy, and family business. He has worked in a number of countries across the globe, including countries in Middle East and Europe. He speaks on a variety of topics internationally, including for branches and overseas chapters of ICAI. He is an established poet and technical writer. He is married and having 3 children. His wife, Shala Khan, is a motivational speaker and a former Mrs. India International. Shaz is a former vice chair of our Muscat chapter, and he is currently serving as ambassador of ICAEW in Bahrain. Thank you so much, Shaz, for being here with us today and your session interpersonal skills, personal branding and networking insights which you will be sharing will make a big difference. Your support to the initiatives of ICAI has always been exceptional, and I'm sure today our young members will get a great insights from it. So I request all our young members to please give a big virtual round of applause to Shaz, and Shaz, the screen is yours. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Prabhati bhai. Namaste.
My apologies, Shaz. You were muted, so you can
No
start.
problem. Yes, I'll repeat. I was actually praising you, Prabhadeep. So I might need to change my words now.
Thank you.
So I was just telling Namaste, Adab, Sat Sri Akal. Very warm welcome to everybody. I believe it's been a very lengthy day for you, and 7 days in a row is going to be very tiring. But I never had this luxury at the time when I qualified. So I rather, like to applaud the effort of the ICAI, in particularly the members in industry and business, CA Hansraj Chok and CA Durgesh Kabraji, for taking this wonderful initiative, and Prabhadeep Bhai, as usual, always been there and help and support. And just a few words about Prabhadeep Bhai is not only that he supports the young chartered accountant. People like me often give him a trouble in terms of getting the COP, his address change, and he has been so kind. So thank you very much. And the session today happens to be. Let me start, putting my slides, and then we can discuss. So, is my screen visible, Prabhadeep Bhai?
Yes.
Very
Your
good.
screen is fine, Shaz. Yeah.
Thank you very much, and thank you very much, Prabhadeep Bhai, once again for a kind introduction. I suppose anything else out of that introduction, something which pleased me is a husband of a Mrs. India International, and I suppose an established poet. So these are some of the two things I really feel very, very proud of. And those two things has really happened because of the interpersonal skills, networking, and personal branding. And of course, many more achievements which I managed to make across my long career so far. I'm going to talk about what are the interpersonal skills, a bit about the networking and personal branding, and some of the tips I'll be sharing alongside, from my personal experience, and I'll be, giving the heads up in terms of, what you should do for a very smooth career from here on as well. Some of them have recently been qualified. Some of them has been qualified way back in November 2017 as well. So we'll move along. So let's sail together. I suppose it's going, let's try doing something different. So it's going to be a journey. Phases in the life of the CA. We'll spend a bit of time, what are the phases in the life of the CA? Generally 3 phases. And the skills, what are the skills? Some of the hard skills, soft skills. What are the interpersonal skills, and why do we need them to succeed? And what is personal branding? Some of the tips and trade for a personal branding. Passion and motivation. This is something I just want to give you like a tadka. As we see, when we eat the dal and you find the tadka. So passion and motivation, if you have in your life, that not only helps you, I suppose, for your personal achievements, but the professional achievements as well. In networking, what is the networking and how we can possibly increase the networking as well, and the recap and followed by the question and answer should we have time. So phases in the life of, phases in the life of a CA. So we are all chartered accountant. What are the possible phases we can have it? And the way, I turn it down, it's like the stage 1, stage 2, and stage 3. Stage 1, what is the stage 1? Stage 1 is about the knowledge, how we are getting the hard skills, develop like skills such as discipline, education, vital skills, absolute bedrock of a successful career. So you've been through with the schooling, you've been through with the college, and now you're all qualified chartered accountant. And they've been termed as hard skill. Everyone, goes through with that layer, including me and everybody, all the senior chartered accountants as well. What is the stage 2? So some of you may be already in the stage 2 because you're all qualified chartered accountant, which is the employability. So enhancement or career development. And the way I termed it, the first stage as teenager, the second stage as adult. So what is the adult stage? Getting job or lending into practice is a result of robust education qualification, as mean for a layman is followed by the hard skills. Develop effective communication skills, technical competencies, relevant global certificates, learn project or work experience, build right attitude and interest. And there is the monetary and non-monetary marriages, they happen here, and soft skills. So this is the most difficult part because some of you are already entered into stage 2 and some of you may have, an extended stage 2 as well. Because that's where, and people often say, choosing a spouse, you can have as many as a spouse, but once you choose a career is a one-way path. So it's a joke, but what does it mean is if you establish yourself as a tax expert, then there's a future for you as a tax expert. When you establish yourself as an auditor, then auditor, internal auditor, digital transformation, IT, and so on. So it's going to be a difficult choice once you get in. So this is where you should spend time. And our session today happens to be the networking, branding, and personal development. They all majority of the things happen for a life for an Indian chartered accountant in stage 2. And why the case so? Because stage 1, often we've been so much concerned about getting the hard skill, getting the certificate, CA final. So we neglect a little bit on this soft skill side as well. And that's the case was always with me. And I was no different than you. So I had a very tough time in settling myself in stage 2. And I started my career way back in India. That's where, I've done my CA. Then since then, I've been away almost now. Bit of career in UAE. Then I ended up spending a lot of time in UK. And I had a lot of the struggle because I ended up working in the financial services, so which required learning the new hard skills, soft skills, so much cultural changes. And there I realized the importance of the interpersonal skills as well. So those some of the experience I wish if I can share with you with the help of some slides as well. So what is left for us now, the stage 1, stage 2, we have been through stage 3, which is the job effectiveness and efficiency or career advancement, which is a mature stage. I would rate myself in stage 3 or probably an early stage 3 because I still, 20 odd years left for me to make my living. And in this stage, what often a CA does is the subject matter expert, which for example, I am, or perhaps, some extent the IFRS 9, 17 expert and insurance expert, and so do working on the energy sector as well. And that's where you are likely to get more monetary gains, but you do get non-monetary gains. For example, an invitation to speak, on such a big platform, similar like this. And children, and you will have children and they will start doing well, school, colleges, sky's your limit. And we will see some of them, big chartered accountant, those being known for personal branding. And this is where the best combination is required, soft skills and hard skills. So you may be a chartered accountant, which is in hard skills, but you need the soft skills, a great amount of soft skills as well. And you also need more hard skills. It means more certifications, more specific qualifications. So this is something I keep on referring, I suppose, as the journey goes along. And feel free if you may have any questions to type in and then, we can take up in the end as well. So friends, what are the soft skills? We often hear about that, soft skills are very essential. Soft skills are, required for day-to-day activities. Even believe me, you require these skills at home more than the workplace as well. So some of the soft skills which I can think of is the critical thinking, problem solving, public speaking, professional writing, teamwork, digital literacy, which is, I believe, the talk of the town nowadays because so much work is being happening, online. Leadership, professional attitude, work ethics, career management, and intellectual fluency as well. So these terms, some of them are making sense. For example, leadership we know because we others. Work ethics we may know that as well. Problem solving and public speaking. But some of the other things, once you start working, then you start realizing, this happens to be a soft skills and I should do them. There is a trick to deal with the soft skills. And the trick is, if you understand interpersonal skills well, and if you become the master of the interpersonal skills, you become the master of the soft skills. If you remember, the last couple of slides, I was talking about stage 1, stage 2, stage 3. And I did mention something about the hard skills and I something mentioned about, chartered accountant. So what are those? So first and foremost, hard skills. Specific to individual professions. So for example, we are all chartered accountants. So we acquired the hard skills. We have the certifications. Final, we've been the experts of so many things, direct tax, auditing, and so many things which were there in our syllabus. But why do we need interpersonal skills? So, and what are these interpersonal skills? The interpersonal skills, my friends, nothing. Qualities and behavior. So that talks about the qualities and the behavior, how we behave. We exhibit while interacting with other people. So the most sought after soft skills. So here we see a link. So the interpersonal skills, that's the state, the quality, the behavior, and then how you demonstrate the interpersonal skills by demonstrating the soft skills. So these two skills are interrelated. And if you become master of this interpersonal skills, you are likely to become the master of the soft skills and you will do wonders in your life. So interpersonal skills in specifically, we discussed something about the mannerism, behaviorism. What are the interpersonal skills, my friends? All about working with the other people. You may use them in the, in your home, but when it comes to the workplace, you need them. And ability to get along with others while performing the job. So when you work, you do not work. You need people around you. They've been your bosses, your seniors, your juniors, your colleagues, your customers. So we work with people. Characteristics like traits, like manners, attitude, courtesy, habits, behavior, which help us. So basically, it's all about how you get along with people. And why do we need, by the way, those things? We need it to communicate and maintain relations. So it's not only how you want to come across with the people, but also to establish the relationship, maintaining the relationship. So these are very vital. And unfortunately, I've been also the product of the ICAI, and even in my days, there was a very less emphasis on the soft skills, and as a result, a lot of chartered accountants they find it very very hard when it comes to the interpersonal skills or communication skills comparison with the MBA. And at my time, I believe this JMCC, they were started, and then this was like 3 days, and then now it's been 4 days and 7 days. The institute has been rightly picked up. These skills are not only vital for recently qualified, but everybody as well. So that's the reason why we are spending the time. So why do we need interpersonal skills, and what are these? If you see, you need it for this. Next slides, and so that the body language, your movement of hand, your eyes, your body language, that also be the part of the interpersonal skills as well. Listening skills, which is very hard to find a discipline in, because we often, we like to speak, and that's where also a lot of Indian chartered accountants struggle to make a mark in the international. Negotiation and persuasion skills been very, very weak as well. But this is the reason why I struggled a lot in my days in UK, because I used to speak and I was not listening, and I was finding very, very hard to pursue and negotiate with the people as well. And so these are the skills, and assertiveness is all about maintaining the state of mind while you're interacting it. So no personal grudges, and be it there in the situation as well. So all those things, together make interpersonal skills, and they're very, very much required at your workplace and for, at home as well. So friends, we spend a bit of time learning about the stages of the chartered accountant's life. We learn about the skills, hard skills, soft skills. We learn a bit about the interpersonal skills. And some of the skills, based on my experience, I believe, which are really very essential for anybody, but specifically to the Indian chartered accountant to succeed. What are these are? First and foremost is the communication, which includes verbal communication, writing communications, and I suppose the non-verbal as well. So why do we need it? Because communication is an essential interpersonal skills that must be demonstrated to succeed at workplace. Team-based collaborations deal directly with customers or client require both verbal and non. So this is very, very essential, and I used to score very, very poorly because my focus was on hard skills, becoming a chartered accountant, and I got carried away in acquiring those hard skills. And it took a little while for me while I was in UK and somewhere else in the Europe to acquire the communication skills. And also along the side, I realized that communication includes the body language as well. So for example, proactive body language, or I suppose a supportive body language or aggressive body language, these all comes out well. And eye contact, that's the most important thing, which often, I used to avoid it, but over the course of the time, as my development stage, I learned that the eye contact is one of the most important communications as well. The biggest thing after the communication, which I scored very, very heavily, because this was the only quality, out of the interpersonal skills which I brought it along when I left India, was the smile. This is something you need most of your workplaces, smile. This is also a communication skills and a way of improving communication. And if you smile, you make a connection very easily with the people. You sound like a very productive employee. It's also have a lot of impact on your health. That for example, good impacts on the brain. Smile has a unique power. It helps in relationship building and trust. And there are a lot of medical grounds, that it uses the maximum muscles of your face as well. So keep smiling. This is definitely needed. But just be careful as well of cultural sensitivity also, which will we see. What are those cultural sensitivity as well? Which comes up in my next point is called the emotional intelligence. And this is something I feel a lot of Indian chartered accountants, often miss the emotional intelligence. And I also been the victim of that. And what does it mean as well? When something bad has happened, something, a bad decision, or for example, bad day at the office, you start reacting. So in life, my friends, there are only 10% action and 90% reactions. If you have emotional intelligence, if you can control your emotions, you can use them for betterment. So the ability to keep one emotion under control and navigate social situations. So always maintain your emotional intelligence. If something bad has happened, take your time, breathe it, and find out the solution. Because if you reacted, you are not going to solve the problem. You are going to aggravate the problem. The other thing, which is often the chartered accountant, Indian chartered accountant scores very, very heavily, is the reliability. We have a very trusted brand name across the world. And when I landed up in the UK or in Europe, wherever I worked in, the only respect which I believe, I managed to drive it, that I was the product of the ICAI. The reliability, your work, ethics, and integrity to see things to the end. And reliability can also be, extended if you turn up, in time in office. The punctuality is the another form of the reliability. So we continue our journey of, some of the other skills which I believe are very vital for you is the leadership skills. Leadership is an interpersonal skill that sets candidate apart from their peers. And I like to mention is, do not think that if you've been made boss of your office or if you are in leadership position, you can only exercise leadership. No. You can exercise leadership maybe in a small group of people, or maybe if somebody's in the trouble, your teams and colleagues in the trouble, you can emerge with a solution, and that's also the form of the leadership as well. What employers looking? Employers are looking for motivated and capable workers who can inspire others and take charge when work needs to be finished. So in Europe, when performance appraisal happens, these are the skills which are, your appraisers they generally look into. Are you contributing? Are you attributing? Are you demonstrating the leadership skills as well? And that's also required, for your promotions and career advancements as well. The other thing, which, Indian chartered accountant often score heavily, and, thanks to our connection with the yoga as well, the attitude called the positivity. Remain positive in your life. I always try to be positive. Whatever happens in my life, I see a light on the other side of the tunnel. So maintain a cheerful attitude. This helps you keeping your stress level down and in generating a feeling of optimism throughout the office. So I've been regarded as one of the most positive person in the office. Whatever happens, I'm always smiling, I'm always cheerful, and I do not try to be in the part of the blame game. If something mistake has happened by me, I will acknowledge it and move ahead. So this is an attitude, and positivity, my friends, does not come up in one day, 2 day, third day. This is something, constant amount of consoling, constant amount of talking you need to do yourself. And this is an attitude you need to develop. Look from the angle. So if I can show you the glass, often people say, if you can see it, the glass is half full, glass is half empty. That's about the attitude, and same thing applies with the positivity as well. The other thing is in normal day-to-day work life, be it, practicing chartered accountant or I suppose a service chartered accountant, there are bound to happen the conflicts. So your attitude towards the conflict is you should resolve conflict rather than I suppose creating the conflict. And the complaints, and everybody has a struggle in my life. So do that workplace as well. So do not make too much complaint. Whatever God has given you, try to enjoy that fruit as well and work harder to achieve more and more and be appreciative. So those employers who appreciate and they're going to tend to be longer and they'll get more reward. So be appreciate what you have it. What you have, the others may not necessarily have it as well. And as I mentioned earlier that, the struggles I had it was the negotiation and persuasion skills, because if I'm not being able to come across well, while I'm leading the meeting, while I'm talking with my clients, internal clients or external client, and if I don't have the negotiation and persuasion skills, I am not likely to succeed. And that's where the communication comes into very, good, your positive attitude, your leadership attitude. So all these things, combined, and that makes you very good negotiation. And why the case, sir? Because chartered accountant, of course, at the end of the day, fees, that becomes a very good part for negotiation. And if you come across a number of, findings and you're trying to give the qualified opinion, or if you are in internal audit, you are giving them, I suppose, the management letter point, you need to have the negotiation skills, which is, I would use the term called the burger approach. So burger approach is the good thing, and then, the bad part, and then followed by the good thing as well. So these are the traits, which I often use it. And persuasion is another form of negotiation to solicit, to pursue someone to follow you. And these are very, very essential skills. And these are, interpersonal skills which you needed to succeed. Some of them, I guess, the last but not the least is the feedback. And this is where, I scored very, very poorly when I find it very hard to accept the feedback because there was no culture of, the feedback when I used to work in it. The professional mindset is required. If somebody, your senior is giving you the feedback, accept it gracefully. find out what you do well, what you are not doing well, and what is the way to develop yourself. And that's also one of the classical good example of the interpersonal skills as well. Another thing, I suppose, we often be confused with sympathy and empathy. So sympathy is something, you sympathize with the people. But at workplace, we normally do not sympathize with the people, we empathize with the people. And what does it mean is you understand the position of other person as well. If there are issues from the client side, you hear them out, learn more the facts, why this is the issue, audit issue, or I suppose the management issue or performance efficiency issues. So you empathize with the people and try to find out a win-to-win situation as well. And as I mentioned earlier, when I was discussing the interpersonal skills, active listening. The listening can be, a couple of times as well. And for example, if you, some of you may, attending this session, and at the same time you have opened, the Facebook account, you have opened the Gmail, and so many other things, and you just, keeping an eye here and there. That's not active listening, unfortunately. Active listening is one. Not only you pretend that you are listening, but you are also learning and grasping along the way as well. So active listening and being open to the ideas of others will lead to the environment where all others feel free to share their thoughts as well. And active listening, other than I suppose the attention, is be the team member. So wherever you've been working it, if you are a leader, then you lead it from the front, but allow everybody in the team to come up with the ideas. So give them the peace and then make them the part of the team so that they feel a sense of participation and the teamwork. And this is the most important thing. And I had a very tough time, I suppose, getting along with the people when I moved in Europe, because teamwork, again, that's a part of the soft skills or the interpersonal skills, which I was very, very weak. And relying on others in some capacity, willing to support others. So be a team player. And it may not necessarily, for example, I'm being the leader of the financial services, IFRS 17 insurance, but there are a number of projects, for example, I work as a senior team member. So my role is to support, technically support rather than leading it. And I very well try to do, that act as well. So try to be a team player. Team is very, very essential. Just imagine, if you're working in the office and you work in isolation to get, maximum goal for you and you're letting behind the other people. You may get an immediate success, but in the longer run, you will find it hard to cope. So teamwork also. So if you keep on demonstrating all these skills at your workplace, be a practicing chartered accountant, be somebody who's working in service industry or anywhere where you are likely to succeed more often than others. So friends, we discussed so far about the stages of the life of a chartered accountant. Hard skills, soft skills. We discussed about the interpersonal skills and some of those skills which you needed at your workplace as well. And now we have come up to the personal branding. So what is the personal branding, my friend? A personal brand is unique combination of skills and experience that makes you who you are. And it is how you present yourself to the world. So we can take a bit of pause here because people have little misconception about, personal branding. So I try to clear, some of those misconceptions here. Personal brand is the unique combination of the skills and experience. So the emphasis on the word, my friends, is the skills and experience. The skills, if I may draw you a map, is the skills, hard skills, soft skills. So personal brand cannot be achieved if you do not have hard skills and if you do not have. For a chartered accountant, of course, you have the CA final certificate in your hand. So yes, you have acquired the hard skills, but how about the personal skills or the soft skills? So you acquire the soft skills, the skill set is complete, then the experience. So you do well wherever, tax expert or audit expert or IT experts and so many, combinations of work which chartered accountant possibly do it. Skills and experience that makes you who you are. For example, I like to be come across as the IFRS expert, for example, IFRS 17 expert or energy expert or audit expert. But if I were to classify myself as, the expert, I've done tons of work in terms of my education, in terms of experience, a number of clients and number of years to acquire that experience. Alongside, I keep on working on my skills as well. So it's skills and experience that makes me what I am now. So people regarded me as one of the experts, they respect me. And whatever little money I'm making it because of my skills and experience and my personal branding. And it is how you present yourself to the world. So this is how I like to become across. So wherever you are in very young age, I would expect it, a lot of you are in stage 2 of the chartered accountant. You need to keep acquiring the skills, which is the combination of soft skills and hard skills. But the emphasis should be more on soft skills for you because you already have a world-class degree in your hand and experience. So keep acquiring the experience, keep building your person. And we will see, some of the traits and some of the help how you can continue building your personal branding in the next couple of slides as well. And often we know about the unique value proposition, which is called the UVP. And this is something, a memorable, a valued solution that responds to your audience pain point, challenges, and needs. So, for example, my own experience, last year, somewhere around January 2020, before the corona, I have launched a product called the IFRS 17 solution. And I moved my base from Oman to Bahrain. And I know a lot of Big Fours have been providing their services, but none of the Big Four is well placed within Bahrain to provide the services within Bahrain. They've been providing the help from UK, South Africa, and so many places. So I know my audience pain points. I know the challenges because IFRS 17 is one of the most difficult standard you can ever have. And they have a need, finding a local expert. So look at this, audience pain point, challenges, and needs. I create a UVP by providing them the solutions. And that's where it all. Rest is history. So personal branding, and I managed to enhance my personal branding. And that also helped me in finding a place in the IFRS steering committee in national. I also been appointed as the expert in drafting the IFRS 17 parallel standard for the Islamic organizations called the IOF, and so many other places as well. I created the personal branding. So this is my experience. I have to give it to you so that at least you can find some connection. And these are the two most famous chartered accountant. Sorry, jokes apart. So one of them, my favorite and my guru, Amarjit sir, and that's me. So personal branding, why this is very, very important. So you see this photograph. This photograph that was taken in Dubai, I suppose Prabhudeep was there, I suppose in 2019 or 2019. To get too close to Amarjit sir, it took almost 20 years for me. And my journey with the IFRS, for example, started when I started watching Amarjit sir speaking in the library of the ICAI headquarters or reading his book. And I wish at that time that if I ever become chartered accountant, I would like to be like Amarjit sir. And if I get an opportunity to shake hand with him, or maybe I guess just to see him or touch him, I will be, consider myself, I suppose, a wonder boy. What has happened over the years, then I continue working on my skills, I continue working on my experience, and I managed to deliver a number of sessions with Amarjit sir, including the IFRS as well. So just look at an ordinary chartered accountant, can fulfill their dreams by following the simples and enlargement, enhancement of the skills, and getting more and more experience as well. So some of the CAs, let me just bring you. So this is T.M. Manoharan sir, and one of the past president and well-known chartered accountant. There's hardly anybody who does not know him, Mr. Piyush Goyal, and hardly again, Mrs. Kidwai. So these are chartered accountant and the personal branding. So personal branding, if you see T.M. Manoharan, he has held up troubled banks and see them through. Piyush Goyal has been doing so well with the ministry, and you see the HSBC Bank, she's been dealing it so well as well. So look at the contrast of the experience. These are in different fields, and yet they created a personal brand. So these are chartered accountant. I also like to share you some of the examples of the personal branding, and you can see possibly two photographs. The two great cricketers, ever produced by India, and if you see Virat Kohli and Sachin Tendulkar, both of them are the master class. But look at their personal branding, what signals they are giving to their audience. One guy, Sachin Tendulkar, the god of cricket, hardly any controversy in more than 23 years. He played the international cricket, down to earth, so much responsible. And you see the Virat Kohli and where he started from, fighting with everybody, and now where is he moving? So he's been concentrating more on his games. But if you see the aggression has been different, the personal branding has been different. The kind of advertisement they've been doing is different as well. So these are, again, look at the chartered accountant, personal branding could be different, from hard skills, soft skills, because you want to respond to your audience pain point, challenges, and need. And one more photo I'd like to show you. This is a very, recent event. Mr. Dilip Kumar just died. If you see these three people in this photograph, Mr. Amitabh Bachchan, Shah Rukh Khan, and Dilip Kumar. world-class actor. But when you look about their personal branding, for example, Dilip Kumar has never done any advertisement. If I come to, as far as my knowledge goes back, and look at Mr. Amitabh Bachchan, superstar, but look at the kind of advertisement he's been doing it to the personal branding, and Shah Rukh Khan as well. And if you've been following the cricket, IPL especially, what happened at the Wankhede, these are the things, which also contributes to your personal branding as well. So, just a minute. Personal branding also. Let me just 1 second. Yep. Sorry for interruption. So this personal branding, it's very unique. So what are the idea I was actually trying, up here is the personal branding, a unique value proposition. And why do we, need personal branding to be unique? And the answer is personal branding is not about being famous. For example, I'm not famous. Hardly, if I were to count it, my social media followers is around 20,000. On LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, all these sources. So I'm not that famous, compared to all the beautiful chartered accountants you have it. But I'm selective famous. So at least my known circle in Bahrain, wherever I work, for example, in Oman, or maybe my ICAI community, at least people know me, or my customer knows me. So I'm trying to be being selective famous. This is the reason how I've been creating my personal branding, how I'm enhancing my personal. And I use so many tips here as well, here and there on social media and while interacting with the people. So let's see those in the form of the next slides as well. Tips for developing your personal brand. I believe the chat, I hope that you've been liking it, but everybody's after how we can enhance our personal brand. So this is where my own experience comes into picture as well, what I've been using it, which is the figure out who you are. So I try to invest a lot of time on me, finding out, what is there inside my brain, where I really like to be, what has went wrong, and, what my long-term objective, short-term objective. Determine what you want to be known for, level of physics. Taking my example, I really like to be famous, but within my own circle, with a limited selective audience. I don't want to be famous that every person who is moving on the street, start recognizing me, because I'm not the movie star. So my audiences are my customers, those who work in financial services, those who work in insurance industry, those who work in banks, or I suppose, my own colleagues in the ICAI as well. Define your audience. So as I mentioned earlier, that I know my audience, who are my audiences are. And I spend a lot of time in research your desired industry and follow the experts. So as I mentioned, in my lifespan, I've largely worked on the financial services, but off late, I've been developing a lot of solutions on IFRS convergence, and my desired industry happens to be oil and gas, energy, and insurance and banking. Follow the role model, follow the experts. So Amarji sir has always been a role model, but I have a lot of role models, a lot of past presidents, he's been my role. Other than chartered accountant, there are a number of role models as well, and that includes, for example, Shah Rukh Khan as well, a role model for something, or maybe Amitabh Bachchan is a role model for something as well. So there is a formula that role model may not necessarily that you follow them right from start till the end. If one aspect you like from the role model, take that aspect from them. Then one thing from somebody, one thing from, and that's how you build up. And my biggest role model has always been my father, because he worked very, very hard to raise 3 children. My brother as an advocate. And so this is where, your research, industry, follow the experts, role model, comes very, very important as well. Embrace networking. I have no hesitation in telling you that, how shy I've been. Once I qualified chartered accountancy, I worked in Dubai, and when I moved to London, I never used to attend any session by the local chapter. I used to avoid the gathering of the people because I thought that I might not be able to gel, well. I might not be able to get along well with these people. So I was avoiding networking, and that's where I was missing a big picture. My friend, embrace networking. ICAI has been spending a lot of money, a lot of effort in making you aware of a number of sessions across the globe. Now, thanks to the online technology, you can, something which is happening in US also. Embrace networking, your branch, your local circle, NIRC, CIRC. There are so many things, my friend. And if you're finding it hard, get involved with the CSR, because that's where you will also, help the nation as well. The local chapter, foreign branches, connect with people. If you connect with people, you are bound to change. And the changes happened, when I started getting along with the chartered accountants. And when I moved to Middle East, especially, the likes of Bahrain, it's such a beautiful chapter we have it, and they do so well for their, members. And that's where you learn more and more, because you started benchmarking yourself, against your peers. You started learning from them as well. And if you are not embracing networking, unfortunately, you will be fall behind. We'll have a specific, slides on the networking also, and grow your online presence. So, unfortunately or fortunately, we are in an era, and if you are not an online presence, you are not likely to increase your networking and your presence as well. But use your social media wisely. So do not, be a complaint or put anything against the nation. Try to be protective. Try to, come up well and spread the positive message. That's also part of the interpersonal skills which we saw. It's something which are very, very important. I just kept it in the end, like the point number 8 and 9, passion or session. These are the two very difficult choices. And sessions means, as I mentioned earlier, that you should attend as many sessions as possible, try to network, but there is a very, very, very big room for your passion. So if you have a passion in your life, passion could be anything. But my passion was, when I was growing up, my passion was to write poetry. My passion was, to write stories, to do act or play cricket. So music and so many things were my passion as well. So I try to find, time for the passion. But stage 1 and stage 2 of the chartered accountant, often we neglect our passion. And the same mistake I made it. But at last I, gone back to my passions as well, and I've been doing fairly, fairly well. And why the, passions help you? Because that enhancing my personal brand, and that is enhancing my networking. You may not believe that I meet a lot of new people, a lot of my potential customers in while pursuing my passions. So in my poetry sessions, in my, music sessions or singing sessions, and wherever I participate, I come across a lot of people, and that makes my network. So passions or sessions, keep a fair balance. Keep attending the session, but keep one eye on your passions as well. And something which I have learned it, and also this is a message I suppose from us, chartered accountant to you as well. My friend, enjoy your failures more than the success. I had many, many failures in my life, and but I've learned from the failures. I try not to repeat those mistakes. This is where your maturity comes, and again, emotional intelligence comes, and which we have discussed in length about the interpersonal skills. So keep learning from your failures, and then you find more ways to success. What are the traits of a successful personal branding? So some of the traits I demonstrated, some of the traits, I keep on sharing my own experience as well. But what are those if I want to, jot it down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? So be purposeful. Again, it goes back to your target audience, their pain. So what you want to achieve, I suppose, personal brand. Be confident, whatever you do. Confidence is very, very vital. And how you manage to acquire the confidence if you have a very strong interpersonal skills. Be a tortoise, not a rabbit. This is something, my wife has asked me to add this point. Because, when I left India, I got a very, by the grace of God, I got a good job with PwC. Then I moved to KPMG. So many things happen in my life so fast. So I could not catch up. And there was a gap of my personal skills. There was a gap of my hard skills. And I struggled. So be a tortoise, go with the flow. So at least up to the stage 2 or little advanced stage 2, learn and experience, my friend. Do not try to grab the opportunity. Be generous. And this is something, I try to always help. I'll always try to find the time for my fellow professionals, wherever people need me. This is one of the sessions I'm giving, for example. Be a student, and this is some of my seniors have said that though I've been sounding like an expert on a number of IFRS and number of technical areas, but I like to be considered myself as a student, because nobody is perfect in the world. The moment you start, considering yourself as an expert, then you stop learning. I don't want to stop my learning. I'd rather like to classify myself as a student. And Nanda sir, if you know, Charanjit Singh Nanda sir, Central Council member. Similar session at the time when I was attending these general communication classes. He said few things, but something which I remember is try to spend 16% of your time in your learning. I don't know how he managed to find that formula, but I'd rather be spending 20% of my time. And another example I mentioned you earlier about Amarjit sir, and Nanda sir also influenced my poetry skills also. And what happened? Ever since I'm working on my personal skills in networking, now I organize Kavi Sammelan, or I participate in a lot of Kavi Sammelan alongside with Nanda sir as well. So look at your personal branding and make an effort on skills and experience. The sky is your limit. Those people which are very difficult for me to touch, now I sit with them. And be ambitious. I've been very ambitious, and you should be ambitious as well. But just be careful, be a tortoise and a rabbit as well. Ambitious doesn't mean that you want to grab everything in one go. And the next couple of points will help you in understanding it, and be curious. All the time, I guess my mind has never stopped working. I like to learn more and more, more and more, more and more. But I use the traits of the interpersonal skills, active listening, asking appropriate questions, be teamwork. So it's not like that, one-way communication. And my personal favorites are, this is something, I've learned over the course of my life, is use stairs and avoid lift. And what does it mean actually? This is again, my wife always used to say that I got so good breaks earlier in my career. And then what happened is I struggled. So because I skipped the stairs and reached to the lift as well. So always it's good to use stairs. So one level, second level, third level. So if you are an auditing firm, this is how it, and some people do like me as well, that they switch from one firm to another firm, grab it, the senior position, and you struggle it. So I had a tough time, and but having said that, with all the tough time, I become one of the youngest partner as well. There are good things and bad things as well, but try going by step as well. Be passionate. I'm very passionate about my work. I'm very passionate. I have so many passions and hobbies and interests. And I'm very motivated as well. So there is no harm to be motivated. Whatever you find, any situation in your life, always remain positive and motivated. There is always a green grass. And build networks. So I spend a lot of time, if I counted almost 2 hours a day, I built on my networking, be it on the social, be it I suppose social media, or in person through any medium. On an average, I spend at least 1 to 2 hours on my networking. So why, and now we have come to getting close to call it a day, but I just take a pause a little bit here and just talk you some of the basics element which we have discussed so far. So we discussed about the stages of the chartered accountant 1, 2, and 3. We also discussed about the skills, hard skills, soft skills. We discussed about the interpersonal skills and some of the most important skills which we need to succeed as well. We discussed about the personal branding, some of the traits of personal branding, some of the secrets how to become the personal branding as well. My own favorite, and this might nothing to do with the topic, but I find it, if you are motivated, if you are following your passion, you are likely to get success. For example, when I started this IFRS 17 solution, I was very passionate about it. That I like to bring a solution which has not been even offered by the Big Four firm. So I had a passion, I had motivation, and I have a huge success, one of the largest service provider in Bahrain. And what has happened, when you are motivated, when you follow your passions or make your work as a passion is, you'll feel more energy. For example, I'm always call me in the night, evening, same enthusiasm, and I guess that's bring the charisma as well. I leave it to your discretion whether I'm charismatic or not. It makes what you are doing fun. So my work is fun. I really enjoyed it. You can be an inspiration to others. So I hope I can be an inspiration to you, and you can possibly change yourself from today onward. You will be more productive. Believe me, when you started loving your work, you are passionate about it, you feel motivated, you would like your work. Get more accomplishment than you ever thought possible. So, for example, I've been given a doctorate degree, an honorary doctorate degree by Hathi University. I never dreamed of a number of awards I never dreamed of, and the phenomenal success I have in my professional life I never dreamed of. You will be more successful. So, inshallah, if you follow these small bits, you will be more successful as well. So, and something, often people say that you will be the one who is saying that the word is round when everyone else say that is flat. And a very quick comment up here is your role model I mentioned earlier as well, but please try to avoid the negative people. So negative people, could be there, in your social circle, at your home, work, wherever you are. Try to find out and mingle with the people who have a positive mindset. So this is where I try avoiding negative people, and try always to talk to myself. I also have troubles. I also have emotional issues, at workplace. Everybody's bound to have. But I try to be positive. Try not to react immediately. Take a time, take a pause, and then, react to the situation afterwards. So, if you follow everything, Mr. Narendra Modi, our Honorable Prime Minister, what he said a few years back is the signature of the chartered accountant is more important than my friend. He himself is telling us that we are more important. The networking, just a very quick, slides on the networking. What is networking? I've been keep mentioning on the networking as well. So networking is nothing but the exchange of information, ideas among people, common profession or special interest, usually in an informal social setting. So again, the emphasis is more and more involvement in your social circle, in your ICAI circle, with your branches, overseas chapters, with your senior colleagues, with your role model. Please. I had a very tough time when I did not have a networking. And ever since I started realizing the importance of networking, there's no stopping. And I spend a lot of time, as I mentioned earlier, 1 to 2 hours daily on my networking, which is, maintaining a number of WhatsApp group, which I'm doing it for knowledge sharing, being the part of, number of WhatsApp group by actively participation, or my LinkedIn, my Facebook, or I suppose, our Twitter and Instagram as well. But the messages I've been trying to spread is positivity, knowledge sharing. So some of the things I suppose from my own experience as well, and venture to exchange ideas. So you need an avenue, and that's networking give you an avenue to exchange ideas. It makes you noticeable. For example, how do people come to know that I'm IFRS expert? Because I started, speaking for very chapter IFRS study circle. I started speaking, for a lot of local study circles, and that people come to know that this boy has a talent. Any avenue for newer opportunities as well. A lot of work, a lot of business development through my networking. Because people see me in various forums, be it, Kavi Sammelan, be it, sessions, and even, the IFRS conclaves and so many places where I participated, and I got a lot of new work from there. Reassessing your qualification, and Pradeep Bhai has mentioned something about that. I am the ambassador of the ICAI. I only qualified in 2019 ICAI, and then I become ambassador in 2020, and that's the power of the networking. So reassess your qualification. So keep checking it, and remember the message which I gave you earlier: soft skills, hard skills. So stage 3 is an ideal combination of hard skills and soft skills. So keep enhancing your soft skills, but you need to acquire more and more hard skills as well. Where chartered accountant degree, will not take you wherever you want to go. So you really keep working on your qualifications as well. It could be one way, and it was, for me for many years. For example, I follow a lot of people, and wherever they go, I try to listen. I try to see them, and so networking can be a one way as well. It may not necessarily that a club, for example. I try to learn from their experiences and develop long-lasting relationships as well. That's also help you. So I have friends for many years, and I have professional colleagues working across in all the big four firm. Working in industries as well. Whenever I find it anything, which is hard for me to understand, I give them the call. So that saves me number of hours for me in networking. And it's a give it two-way. So they call me as well if they need some expert advice on, the expertise which I'm maintaining it. And growth in self-confidence. At the end of the day, you are going to do well when you are confident. So acquire the confidence as well. There is nothing better than networking. Because if you become member of a study circle or a chapter or a branch, they organize so many things. For example, Bearing chapter organize, Toastmasters, communication skills, technical skills, soft skills, and you become part of it and you enhance those skills as well. So my friend, sky is the limit. Different stages of networking. This is my personal favorite. So, this, you could be possibly here, you could be possibly here, you could be possibly here. But the end result is, if you need to remain in the game. The game is you keep flying. Once you maintain a network, enhance the network, and maintaining the network is also an art as well, because long-lasting relationships. So you need to remain in touch with the people, be there. Networking is given forth as well. So for example, you've been very active, for a couple of years, then you take a sudden break. People, tend to forget you as well. So you need to keep flying, keep flying, keep flying. Networking is as long as you live. So this is where we are almost at the end of the session as well as our. So a quick recap. Phases in the life of CA, we discussed it. skills we have discussed as well, soft skills, hard skills. We discussed about the interpersonal skills to succeed. And we also had, a couple of slides as well, a discussion on the personal branding, how you enhance tips and traits of personal branding as well, and the tadka of passion and motivation, because this is a secret of my success if somebody asks so. My friend, God gave you a fingerprint that no one else has, so you can leave an imprint that no one. We see the example. There are a number of chartered accountants. At the end of the day, all are chartered accountants, but look at their personal persona and the personal branding. So we see the evidences as well. Virat Kohli, Sachin Tendulkar, Dilip Kumar, Amitabh Bachchan, Shah Rukh Khan. So they are the masters of their trade, but look at their personal branding, the target. So you can, find out where you really like to be and develop yourself in that particular. So networking, we also discussed about it. So my friend, where I am at this stage, as I said earlier, that I should have it. But so far, where I sum up, I have more failures. I could have been, achieved more success, but I had more failures and less achievements, more network and less network. So my wife often jokes, and she laughs, because my networking has been increasing like anything, but my net worth doesn't justify as well. So I suppose in the next 20 years, probably immediately next 5 years, my plan is to get, more net worth. But believe me, my net worth or anybody's net worth will only be enhanced if you have a network. So this is my success. And if you see, managed to work for all the big four firms, partner in GT, played cricket at the highest level in the UK and the ICAI, so many awards across the globe. If you see, with the president, and this is something, my favorite. When I first time managed the opportunity, to speak with my mentor, my guru Amarjit sir, and this has been rewarded by the ACCA as well. And quite recently, I spoke with our current president Nihar sir also, and that's the right, extreme right, when I got awarded as one of the best poet in the Oman by His Excellency the Ambassador of India there as well. So these are things I also counted as my success. Yes, they might not be monitored, but this is due to my effort on my networking and personal branding. And this is, Prabhati Bhai mentioned something about my wife. Yes, she's been the former Mrs. India and she's been speaking. But my daughters are following the legacy of her mother and father as well. They've been doing fairly well. And both of them actually published their books before me. So they are there on the Amazon, one of the best sellers. And look at the number of certifications across the globe I've been getting it, because of my networking, because of my interpersonal skills and tendency to get along and help the others as well. And my passions and motivation. So I became the one day RJ as well, and fantastically show. It went in Bahrain. A number of newspapers I keep on coming also. A number of awards I've been getting also. And so yes, they may not be counted as net worth, but these are, a fruit of my network. These are fruits of the kind, my interpersonal skills, acquiring the new experiences as well. So I hope it makes sense. So the purpose of all these photographs is, not to impress you, but even though if you may impress, there is no need to be perfect to inspire others. So as I said, I have more failures than less. So there is no need to be perfect to inspire others. Let people be inspired by how you deal with your imperfection. So I try to learn from my mistakes. I try to keep my emotions, demonstrate the emotional intelligence, follow the interpersonal skills, follow my role models, and try to do well every day. And that's how I've been managed to get the success. But my real wealth is my three beautiful children, my wife, and this is where we are. So, of course, I've been working to enhance my net worth, but this will take time. So I'm so far happy with my network. So thank you very much. So let's doc, that's me and my details, and I'm there on the LinkedIn. If you may wish to follow me, you can pose your questions there as well. I try to respond within 24 hours. Number of questions, technical questions, career advancement, career counseling, because that's where, as I said earlier, 1 to 2 hours I try to spend on my social media as well. Thank you very much. And if you may have any question, please let me know. I guess we are good for the time, like 7 minutes left now.
Many thanks, Shaz, for your wonderful session. And Your insights which you have shared will definitely inspire, motivate, and leave good insights for our young members to see what can be done. And as you said in the last, there's something called perfect. As our experiences grow and as our passion develops, we do different things, and that makes a difference in our lives. We don't have any question which hasn't been answered within your presentation, but as we have 5 minutes left, so if there is on any topic, maybe even a technical topic, you wish to share any insights.
I guess, yeah. Yes, Prabhadeep bhai, maybe I like to demonstrate my skills as a poet because this is something I really feel, enjoyed it. I wrote a poem sometimes back on the Gandhi Jayanti, Be the Change. And this is something, quite evident because you know me for many, many years, and perhaps you can see the change in me as well. And I really look forward for feedback, and, it's a two-way learning. I like to recite the poem, and I hope people would change thereafter, because there cannot be a better ambassador or better role model than Mahatma Gandhi. So the title is Be the Change. I first met Mahatma Gandhi. I first met Gandhi when I started recognizing the notes. Bigger the Gandhi, bigger the notes, bigger the notes, bigger the fun. I learned Gandhi is the father of the nation. And I wonder why I need a second father when I already have one. I wonder more why he has been so popular. Was he more daring or more domineering? I wonder furthermore. People roars that Gandhi is synonymous to compulsion and never used backdoors. More I learnt his qualities, more I got confused. Whenever I adopted his teaching, I often get refused. I was no indifferent, and I started to live like as an ignorant. Life was nothing more than finding my selfish betterment. With the hope of making career and finding a wife, I reached London, the city of life. Wife was hard to find, but Gandhi was always around. Gandhi in England has been so profound. Over the years, I discovered more of Gandhi. More I discovered, more I found myself as a reflection of Gandhi. Why so? Gandhi's teachings are part of management lessons. Mankind needs to live in more harmony than before. World needs to be a non-violence place than ever before. Sex free is truth's symbol. I saw, be the change. I saw, be the change that you wish to see in the world on a high-rise building in London. I realized value of Gandhi I already possessed. Wonder why I do not express. I analyzed my actions and found Gandhi in me has always been around. I always strive to make a better woman and wish to make the world as heaven. To become a better woman and make world as heaven, Gandhi's teachings are best weapon. I awake Gandhi in me. I endeavoring to change myself and the world. Friends, if you also has a wish to change the world, then be the change you want to see. Be the change, and see the change. So thank you very much, Prabhadeep. I hope that will change the people to some extent.
Thank you. Thank you so much. It was a very wonderful poem and a lot of messages in that. That will add to the inspiration which you have left with your session today. Thank you very much for all your support and sincere gratitude for taking out time for us in the session. Yes. So this all has been with the vision of our chairman C.A. Hansrachuk and vice chairman C.A. Durgesh Kabra. And tomorrow we have 2 sessions, first on excelling with Power BI and second on the growth mindset by our speakers from Dubai and Doha. So request all the participants to be here with us tomorrow, and stay safe, take care, good night, bye-bye.
Thank you very much. Take care, bye-bye.